are you, Dale?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Are you in the kitchen?
I am in the kitchen.
Okay. Can you take a picture of inside your refrigerator and tweet that out for us? I'd be curious what's in there.
All right. I can do that.
Okay, so when we hang up, I want to see. Is there anything embarrassing in there?
If there is anything in there that shouldn't be, I'll make sure I won't tweet that.
Where do you keep the beer?
I think we're good. I got a beer cooler. You know, the kind that slides, the top slides open. Beer cooler.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Yeah. So, but that's not in the kitchen.
Yes, it's right here.
Which fridge is bigger?
Would you rather have a picture of that?
Now, I've seen that. I've seen beer cooler before, but what's bigger, the beer cooler or the refrigerator?
The fridge is a little bit bigger, but it's a good beer cooler.
All right, I want you to be the analyst here. I want you to tell me who you think will win. Who's going to win the championship?
Man, that's tough. I was Harvick's always fast, and the 18 is going to be fast. I mean, it's hard to pick one guy because they're all kind of showing good speed right now. I'm going to, obviously pull for my teammate, Jeff Gordon, because I want Boss Man to be happy if Jeff wins the championship. And that's a hell of a way to go out. I mean, he's been racing for, 20-some years now and still has the ability to go out and win races and battle for championships all the way to the very end. And what a storybook ending that would be if he could get the championship.
But what will you do to help? Like, if it comes down to the last lap, would you block for him so Gordon wins?
Oh, yeah, I would block. I probably, NASCAR made some rules a couple years ago where all the drivers have to give 100%. Some kind of silly rule, but
what does that mean?
Pull over, and I don't.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I forget what was going on at that particular time, but Brian Franson, the sport, wanted to make sure that all the drivers were. There weren't any kind of team rules where somebody might pull over and let someone have a spot for. It was at Richmond when Michael Waltrip Racing and all those guys went through that mess with rigging the points to get one of their drivers into the chase, and they ended up having a big mess about that. And we ended up having like 13 drivers instead of 12 drivers that year. They let Jeff Gordon back in and all that mess. It was all kind of screwball, but. So I can't pull over and give him a spot. I can't let him have a position to give him a point. But, yeah, I would block, and I'll race those other guys very, very hard, when I'm around them. Those other three competitors are going to get some hard competition between me or any of the other teammates that are out there.
How's life?
Life's good. Life's good. We just come off of a victory at Phoenix, and I'm working in my first year with Greg Eyes, my new crew chief, and that's going good, and the future looks good.
And then you got engaged. Now, why did you go to?
Yeah.
We had talked about it, and you had to leave the country to get engaged.
Yeah. I was doing. I got sucked into doing this genealogy on my family, and I was sitting there one day. I was like, I really don't know anything about my family beyond Ralph Earnhardt, my grandfather. I don't know who his dad was or anything about that. So, and nobody ever talked about it. There aren't any pictures or anything. So I started really doing some digging and ended up tracing my family heritage all the way back to Germany, this little small town, and I thought to myself that I'd never been to Europe, and I'd always wanted to go, and I wanted a good reason to go. So I thought it'd be cool if I could trace my lineage back to whatever town we were from, and go there and have a beer. And so I ended up tracing our heritage like back 300 years, 10 generations to this very small town called Ilbesheim. And there's like 300 folks that live there. And we went there and stayed in this. There's only like one or two inns to that you could stay at, and they got a couple bedrooms, and we went and stayed there. And hung out with the locals and talked about why we were there, and just sort of got an understanding of what the area was like. Well, it turns out that the church that's in that town is the same church that my family worshipped in and so forth. And so I thought it would be, I wanted to ask Amy to marry me, but I couldn't think of where. And I wanted it to be special and wanted her to be floored when it happened, and wanted it to be somewhere cool. So I thought that was a great place to do it. So we went to that church, and we were getting this tour by the pastor at the church, and I pulled the ring out and asked her right there. So it was cool. It was good.
How were you when you were buying the ring?
Well, there's this Hayes Jeweler in Greensboro, North Carolina, is where my dad always shopped, and so it was, the owner of the store is somebody I know, and he's like, hey, if you ever get married, you got to come here. And I was getting all kinds of advice from friends about what to do and how to do it and where to get a ring and da-da-da-da. But I wanted to, out of respect to my dad and the relationship with Hayes and all this, I wanted to buy it there. So me and my sister drove up there a couple times and picked one out. I looked at, we kind of were looking at Amy's Pinterest and seeing what her tastes were like, and yeah.
Did you
pick it out.
Did you wear a disguise when you went down there?
No. Nope. But nobody.
So you didn't care if somebody saw you go into this jeweler thinking, and you go in with your sister, but that you were going engagement ring shopping?
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't worry about, blowing my cover there.
Okay, so when you have that ring and it's in your pocket, it's like it's it's there, it's burning a hole in it. So you probably put your hand in your pocket a couple times just to make sure it's there and you don't lose it.
Actually, I didn't trust myself with it, so I let my sister carry it the entire time. She's in the church with us with her husband, LW, and we're all standing there, and this church is only like the size of your living room. It's very small. And so we're all just standing there, and I kind of give Kelly the signal, and she pulled it out.
Wait, so she's your engagement ring crew chief is what she is?
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Yeah. It was something else, man. I was super nervous.
Did you set a date?
We haven't set a specific date, but we're thinking this winter, but next winter probably.
Let me know, because I gotta clear my schedule here. You gotta make sure that there's plenty of leeway time here, Junior.
Yeah. Well, it's more than 12 months away. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
He's Dale Earnhardt Jr. joining us. We were just talking about Cam Newton and the celebration, the dance that he had. I mean, you live down there. I know it's a big deal down there. But in NASCAR, you guys are expected to celebrate after a win, right? You can't just take a victory lap at 28 miles per 28 miles, and then all of a sudden you just pull into victory lane. I mean, you got to burn some rubber, and Carl Edwards backflip and all these other things there, right? It's required.
Yeah. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Some guys like burnouts. A lot of the old guys, if you follow like Mark Martin and those guys on Twitter, they don't like the burnouts. They think the burnouts are silly, but it just, I don't know. I sort of have, Carl's backflip is Carl's thing, and that's cool to Carl, and that's his signature move. So it's pretty cool to see that happen. And a lot of guys are doing burnouts to the point to where their tires are catching on fire and they're blowing tires and tearing their cars all to hell. So that's a little excessive, but but at the same time, like, I can appreciate, like Barry Sanders when he would score a touchdown, just handing the ball to the ref and going back to the bench and getting ready for the next offensive play. I can appreciate. Sometimes you feel like raising hell, and sometimes you feel like get into victory lane as fast as you can so you can see your crew, whatever. But
How about the next time you win, you just park your car and then just shake hands with people. Just be total gentleman. But
Yeah.
maybe like 3-point parking. Just like nice, professional.
parallel parking.
Yeah, some parallel
Yeah.
parking, and shake hands with your crew. Don't be spraying anything. Just get out and make it seem like you've been there before, Junior.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that. Sometimes, like, that's how I would like to do it, but I think that there's this expectation that you've got to deliver this burnout in a way. Sometimes you celebrate on instinct, but at the same time you feel some obligation to do something, right? People are there and they're watching, and if you just took the checker flag and drove right to victory lane and got out and shook hands, I think the fans would love to see a burnout. They kind of like that.
In 5 years, more likely that you'll be racing or retired?
5 more years? Oh, that's tough. I mean, I'm getting up there, so I'm 41 now. So I don't know. I like what I'm doing. I'm having fun. I'm having more fun now, I think, than I've ever had driving cars. And I think I'm better than I've ever been. I mean, I feel like that. You think all the time, like, man, I wish I could go back and redo those early years, knowing what I know now. I feel like I'm at the top of my game. I feel like that the team I'm with is really gelling. Like I was talking about Greg, me and him hit it off pretty good in our first year, and I think each year we'll get better, like I did with Steve.
But you didn't answer the question.
So I don't know. I know. It's hard to say. I mean, the great part about it is like, at this moment, I've got my health, and I get to choose, right? When you decide to retire, you want it to be on your terms, not because of health or because of something else, or you don't want to be forced out, or so right now it looks like I'm going to be able to make that choice on my terms, and whenever I feel like retiring, I'll retire. But I think, again, I can't quit with any kind of regrets, and I feel like right now everything's going so good, and I'm running so well, and I've won 7 races in the last 2 years, and after struggling for 5 or 6 years and not winning any races and everybody doubting me, it'd be hard to hang it up knowing how good things are right now. So I'm going to roll with what's happening and just keep racing, and whenever I'm not cutting it as a driver, or I feel like I'm holding up this team, then I'll have to make that decision. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. So 5 years from now, I expect to be racing.
Okay. Good. And I can hear it in your voice. Yeah. I mean, you just seem more relaxed, comfortable, and maybe that wasn't there 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, 5 years ago, there was days where I didn't want to race, or I wasn't having fun at all. And I didn't know what the hell was going to happen, if it was going to get fun again. But
I thought you were going to retire
right now.
I thought you were going to retire in that period where you weren't winning and you just seemed miserable. The criticisms.
Yeah.
How close do you get to retiring?
Not close, because it's such a big machine that I can't stop.
No.
Like, it's not something that you can just kind of turn off with a switch. All the sponsorships and contracts and everything that sit there in place is too big of a thing to dismantle. So, and plus, I didn't want to. Obviously, it's easy to say it now, but I didn't want to go out like that. I didn't want that part of my career to define me, and that be all people remembered of me as a driver. So I'm glad that I stuck it out, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to work with the people that I've worked with in the last couple of years that have brought the success that we've had. So,
well, have fun.
I'm glad it.
Have fun this weekend,
and
take a picture of inside the refrigerator. All right.
I'll do it.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Congrats on the win, and good luck this weekend.
All right, buddy. Y'all take it easy.
All right, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr.